Hi guys. Uh, well, I said I had an announcement to make, and it's time to make it. Uh, it's been approximately 5 months since I've done my last review on this channel, and a lot of people have been asking me, what's going on. Personal people, close friends knew what was going on, and they understood, and it was great to know that people, they understood. They were like, okay, we get it. But I did said I was going to make an announcement here, and I'm afraid I have to make it. Uh, and you, you best hear it from me than hear it from anybody else. Uh, Look, after 151 reviews, it is my deepest regrets to say, guys, that I'm gonna have to shut this channel down. I can't continue with the reviews anymore. Situations have changed where I can't do it anymore, and for that I apologize. Because I know there are people that enjoyed what I had to say, and there were a couple of actual comic creators that actually enjoyed me evaluating their products. And I deeply appreciate everybody who actually, those creators that actually watched my stuff and was thanking them for purchasing their work and enjoying their work. But I have to literally kind of call it quits. It's getting to the point even I can't even work on my main channel as much as I want to. So yeah, I'm sorry to do this, guys, but yeah, the High Lord has to bow out from the reviews. It sucks, but I have to. It's it's a personal matter that needs my requirement, and I have to really bow out of it. But I had a lot of fun doing them. I enjoyed reviewing, and I gotta thank Blue Goblin the most. He was the one that inspired me to do it, to kind of do it, and I took the chance. Saw him do it, I was just like, hey, I could do that, and I took the chance and I did it. And like I said, 151. I didn't feel like I really thought I'd go a little bit longer than 151 reviews, but I guess there, it is what it is. It's kind of bummer, because I kind of was trying to plan when to come back. Like I said, it's been 5 months, 5 months since my last review, and I was gearing up to come back. I had Blue Goblin actually. Gobby, he would give me the, I would be able to keep up with some of the books, some books, particularly a lot of the Marvel books that were coming out. Gobby would send me the codes, and I would, read them from there. Took Fell behind on some DC stuff, I got fell behind on some indie books, but not all of them. I was able to find out, get what's going on with some of the books that I read, whether it was indie or DC and things like that. And it does suck. It does suck that I can't continue where I left off. Um, it really is, guys, and just it does suck. It really does. Um, uh, like I said, it really does suck, and I never meant to be gone this long, but it happened, and there's some good news to this, and there's the bad news is what I just mentioned, but the good news is well, there's some good news. I think I should tell you guys what the good news is. Well, the good news is that's a stone cold lie. Guess who is back? I'm back. That's exactly what it is. I got 11 books to talk about here, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to do it because I'm back. 5 months is gone. 5 months was long enough. And I'm back. 11 books for you to cover. Let's do this. Gone. It ain't over till I say it's over. So, we're gonna kick this off with Marvel, DC, and we're gonna end it with the indie books. And like I said, most of the stuff that I said in the beginning is true, but a lot of it's not. But so let's kick this off with none other than ta-da! Amazing Spider-Man, #1, the world's greatest superhero. Remember that. Was this worth the $6 tag? I'm gonna have to say a slight no, but it's an oversized book, so you can understand why. Dan Slott, Kamuliki, whatever, I butchered his name, I apologize, brings us into the new world of Peter Parker. And I'm not going to lie, this was actually a good start. Very good start to the beginning of this new Peter. I mean, Parker Industries is all over now. It's almost just as big as Stark Industry now. It's really good to see. It was the book opens up with Peter in the Spider-Mobile, new Spider-Mobile, looked badass, looked rad, with Mockingbird, Bobby. I love Bobby's new costume, looks great. She seems to be back with S.H.I.E.L.D. actually, and they're dealing with the new Zodiac. So yeah, the Zodiac is back, and Peter is just showcasing what he is. He's got different people helping him in terms of being Spider-Man in a sense. A good friendly face, a good friend of his is also helping him. I'm not going to mention who that is. Let's just say it's a character whose last name begins with a B, and his first name begins with an H. Peter is still Pete. It's still Pete, even though he's now this big tycoon, but he's still Peter Parker. He's just now on higher grounds. Sajani, the one who's done all the bad karma to Parker Industries and Horizon and stuff, is still here, and Peter gives her a scolding at one point. This does not really feel like a new beginning in terms of they're starting all over. This really just feels like a continuing of the story before Secret Wars happened. I like some of the new gadgets that Peter has. He has like this coil web that is actually, it coils around and it can electrocute you. I thought that was really cool. Um, he's about to start a new foundation called the Uncle Ben Foundation. I thought that was spot on. He does something for Max Modell at his wedding, which was cool. And let's just say a certain somebody may be coming back. But other than that, this was a very good start and a very good beginning. And I can't believe you hear me saying that, especially for a guy who has said literally Slott needs to get off of Spider-Man. But I'm gonna admit this was a good start, very good start. It's good to see Peter in this new light. I'm sorry about that glare, but the other stories involved the other Spider family, Miguel, uh, which was an interesting take of what's going on with him. We get an interesting take of what's going on with Jessica and how she's talking to Carol about her about to be a mom. She's 6 months pregnant. They even announced how many months she's in. She's questioning if she's going to be a good mom. Uh, didn't care for the Silk stuff, and like I said, not a big Silk fan. Don't care. The Miles stuff was pretty good too, but it is the Miguel and they talked about the Web Warriors as well. But that's kind of why I guess the price was $5.99, $600. But this was good. Okay, let's move on to Avengers number 0. I don't really know why, because issue number 1 doesn't come out till November, but this was another interesting tale because it's showcasing all the Avengers like teams. The Avengers, the Uncanny team, the A-Force, New Avengers. I'm looking so forward to read. And
basically, all these teams are being viewed by none other than the Squadron Supreme, especially Night Owl here. And they're talking about all the teams like we got to keep an eye on them, because we may have to come into contact with them and things like that. And, Night Owl is talking to Hyperion, who is on a team who has been an Avenger. And and they're asking him, so what was it like? What were these people like and everything like that? And, Hyperion's to the point of he's really on the offensive, like, if we have to, we're not going to kill him, like, because he spared time with them. The story that really intrigued me the most out of everything, out of all these, was probably the story with the Vision. Oh my God, what the Vision does in this, he goes to pay a visit to Wanda. Wanda now is living in Massachusetts. She's living in Whisper Hills, Massachusetts, and she's cooking. You see her cooking, and Vision knocks on the door, and she says, "Let yourself in." Vision comes in, and he kisses her, and then he starts going on about visions and nightmares and things like that. And what he does as a fan of his, you are really like, what Vision? What did you do? You know what I'm saying? And but it was really good, and Wanda's reaction was just another like, how could you do that? It's really, that was a really very good story. The story with A-Force was cool, where we see Carol with her new position. The Uncanny Avengers story, which basically involved Deadpool requiring something for Steve Rogers to help Rogue, was really interesting. The Ultimates was good. Basically, we were getting a little glimpse of the Ultimates inviting America Chavez into the group,
and we get a little bit of a look at what's going on, what's going to happen with Sunspot and his the new Avengers, which is fine. But it's mainly they're all. Excuse me, I got the hiccups now. So it's all through the eyes of Nighthawk and the Squadron Supreme. But other than that, this was very interesting as well. Looking forward to the rest. All right, let's move on to Doctor Strange, #1, Jason Aaron's, my boy. Jason Aaron's takes on the Sorcerer Supreme. I'm not the biggest Chris Baccio fan. Everybody knows that about me. I'm not the biggest. I really don't like his artwork. Everything gets really clunky and hard to figure out what's going on. But in this, it wasn't that bad. This was really entering the world of Doctor Strange. This really felt like old school Doctor Strange we're talking here. We're talking Steve Ditko, Stan Lee, Doctor Strange. Aarons has done his homework, and he really shines with this book. I love the fact that Doctor Strange makes house calls to the unknown, and I thought that was really cool. And that was really interesting. People going by the Sanctum Sanctorum and always wondering what's he doing in there and things like that. That was fun. We also get to see that Doctor Strange, he goes to a bar down in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and it's only for beings of who are in the magical realm, and sorcerers, things like that. People like Brother Voodoo, Scarlet Witch, Shaman was there. It was really cool to see that. I thought that was really interesting. But this really felt like old school Doctor Strange, and I applaud Jason Aaron's for that. This was really good. Like I said, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Baccio's artwork, but I am a loyalist fan of the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, and yeah, you'll continue to see me reading this. Good stuff. Invincible Iron Man #1, Bendis and Marquez. Marquez's artwork in this was beautiful. I'm not gonna lie about that. Bendis writes a very good tale of Tony, and this new armor of his does things. It now is to a point where his armor can morph into different armors, almost like at will. He has kind of like a morpher. It looks like a morpher on his wrist. This felt when he was becoming Iron Man, when he changed into armor, it felt like it's morphin' time. That was to the point. It was so funny. Madame Mask is in this pretty much, so we get to see Whitney in this, and she is just being the bad girl that she is, stealing things from Stark Industries in Belgium. She's stealing stuff from Latveria, and Tony is he knows he has to deal with it. I love his AI assistant Friday. She's just a trip. It was funny. And we get to see at the end of the book, oh my God, we get to see somebody that, let's just say this man is all cleaned up. And I don't want to spoil who it is, because even if I give you a clue who it is, you'll probably figure it out. But Tony was shocked, and I was like, what? But this was good. Very much good. So we continue with Jason Aaron's, and we go with Star Wars #10. Like I said, been keeping up with Star Wars, thanks to Gabi. Thank you very much, bro. It is the same to see Cassidy leave the book, but like I said, Cassidy is just like Jim Lee. He's not going to stay around on the book for too long. It's surprising that he stayed on Astonishing X-Men so long but you get him, you appreciate what he does, and then he moves on. but he's also a cover artist, and he just does great covers. But Iman is a good replacement in my opinion, and in this, Luke is in the helms of I forget what hunt he is, but he's been captured, and he's there with this guy who they want to put him in these fights, and they know he's not really that good at being a Jedi. He hasn't really gone through the Jedi training. The guy even explains like all the temples of the Jedi has been destroyed, so you're not really going to get any training anywhere else. And this guy seems to know how to use a lightsaber as well. So then, meantime, you also got you got Chewbacca and CP3PO. Basically, I think R2D2. Damn, I forget. They're basically looking for Luke as well throughout the bars and stuff on the planet. And Chewbacca comes off as a true badass at times. It was so funny just to see him kind of pull like Batman-esque interrogation, like hanging somebody over a roof. And it's like, you better tell my friend here what's going on, or he may get angry and things like that. And also in the meantime, we have Han Solo with his so-called wife and Leia dealing with trying to locate Luke and the rebels and things like that. And it's very interesting. I thought this was good. This does not happen, so don't think that. But Luke is right now in the hands of a bad opposition. So let's move on to DC. Got 2 DC for you guys. Like I said, most of the DC books, guys, I really have fell behind, like because of the situation I was helping out and things like that. Because of that, so but some of the DC books I was able to keep up on, and some was just really easy because it just started. Batman and Robin Eternal #1. Tillian the Fourth and Scott Snyder. Tony Daniels' artwork is beautiful. Dick is in Gotham, but he's not supposed to be there. He runs in to help with Jason and Tim, and it's like old times, But he's supposed to be on the official Spiral duty because he's a super spy now. But something starts to come from the past of Tim when his days as Robin, and this group called the Orphan, and Dick basically is on the mission, and these kids come up to him and start calling him Dick, and we know who you are, we're the orphans, and they try to kill him, and he's like, what the hell? So Dick, excuse me, I keep getting them mixed up. Dick has to really find a way out without trying to hurt these kids. It's almost like Children of the Corn meets gun-towing nutbags. But they're called the Orphan. And they're led by this guy called the Orphan. And even one of his fellow agents is under control by this. And Dick needs to get out of there. And then he runs into somebody who most of us fans have been wanting to see for a long time. Cassandra Cain. Yeah, Cassandra Cain makes her debut, and she is still fierce and badass as ever. Harper Row is being tracked down by James, Gordon, Batman, and Harper just shows Jim Gordon like, you wearing that bat suit is not gonna help because I can hack the suit and shut it down. She just shuts it down so quickly. I thought that was so funny. But this is an interesting story. I'm really intrigued because I didn't really find interest in reading the first Batman Eternal. I was just like, it's another weekly Batman series. But this one kind of intrigued me because it's really focused on Dick, which, I'm a huge Dick Grayson fan, so and but this was very interesting. A book I have been keeping up on is Cyborg. Cyborg #3. This is the third issue. Walker and Ivan Reyes does the artwork. First of all, I'm looking forward to seeing David Walker write Luke Cage and Iron Fist. I am so looking forward to seeing him write that. But in the meantime, he's still writing another one of my favorites. Excuse me, itchy nose. Writing another one of my favorites, which is Cyborg. Cyborg is still dealing with these alien metallic parasitic, symbiotic like creatures. Star Labs is also dealing with it, which the best part to me in this book was seeing Professor Dr. Magnus and the Metal Men. So it was good to see Platinum and Iron and Gold and all those again. The biggest thing I would say is finding out. That was pretty much the biggest thing for me in this issue, was just seeing the Metal Men again. But Cyborg knows that they have to find the weakness to these parasitic, cybernetic, symbiotic alien virus, because it is doing a lot of damage, and it's not just in Star Labs and where Cyborg and the rest are Victor. It's all over the world, and it's to the point that Cyborg can't even call for help for his fellow Justice League members to help him, because they're dealing with this as well. But not bad, good enough. Walker is still doing a very good job so far, and there are only 3 issues in. Time for indie books. I got 4 indie books for you guys. Let's start off with another book I've been able to keep up on, and that's this. This is from Chapter House Comics, and that's none other than Captain Canuck #4. That cover is fucking badass. There you go. You can see that cover. It's Captain Canuck fighting a polar bear, which actually does happen in this book. We get to see Captain Canuck, the captain, and his brother are chilling. And I mean that literally. Like, they don't get help, they're going to freeze to death. And then we flip back, then we flip to another story. We flip ahead when they do get rescued, and then later on, what happens when Captain Canuck has to either surrender to his opposition known as Dr. Gold or Mr. Gold, or he's going to lose some of his allies. Very good storytelling, strong, and like I said, you know, for people who don't know, Captain Canuck has been around for a good 40 years now. You know, he's not a new character. I think people are looking at this as a new character. He's not. He's a very classic character, and I think it's very cool to see more well-rounded Canadian characters. You know, you always want heroes. You always want, you know, I think it's cool to see heroes represent other countries and stuff like that. You know, let's face it. How many well-known Canadian superheroes do you know out there? Off the top of your head, I can name a few, but you think about it, it's like well-known. So we get Captain Canuck, who is a very cool character. I like his armor, and you know, he's just a well-rounded character, you know. But this does happen. He actually chokes out this polar bear. He fights the polar bear and has the polar bear choking out, and he's choking it, and he lets it go. He doesn't kill it, but he lets it go. He even says it like, "Look, you realize I'm stronger than you. You can't. I'm gonna let you go, and you just walk away." lets him go. You see the polar bear walking away. I thought that was cool. So we move on to Image Comics, and we move on to Codename Baboushka. I think I'm saying her name right. The Conclave of Death, Part 1. Johnson writes this, and Chan Kamaha. I hope I'm saying your name right. I butchered it. This is basically, the way I look at this was, what if one of my favorite James Bond movies is From Russia with Love. I love that movie. This feels like, what if the female Bond girl in that movie, Tatiana Ronava, was the main character. That's basically what this feels like. Baboushka is basically this. She's a female. Her name is feared and respected in some circles. She was blackmailed by the CIA to dish out missions that they couldn't do. And by doing that, she can grant amnesty to stay in the States. She is also in her bloodline, she comes from Russian nobility. She has a noble Russian bloodline. But in this, we get to see her do kind of her last job for the CIA, and then she goes back to being like what her people think she is, a socialite. But unfortunately, she gets pulled right back into the ordeal of doing dirty work for a government official. And it gets really interesting a bit. She is a badass, no doubt about it. She is basically, I look at it also, she is basically a little bit of Black Widow as well. But I thought this was a very good start. But I do feel like, yeah, this feels like a little bit of a like James Bond-esque title. But yeah, nonetheless, good. Another title that I enjoyed, this comes from Aspen, aka Black Dog Inc., issue number 1 of The Legend of Oz, The Wicked West. If you can see that. Tom Hutchison and Allison Borges is the artwork. This is basically the classic story of the Wizard of Oz, Western style. What if basically Dorothy, same thing happens to Dorothy Gale, gets sent to Oz, but what if Oz was more like a Western? What if instead of the ruby slippers, she got ruby revolvers? Dorothy carries guns with the ruby, handle, which is cool. Toto in this is a horse, a black stallion. Very cool. The Tin Man is a sheriff-like character. And Dorothy travels around the yellow brick road was there. She even says it in this. However, because she's on her way to the Emerald City, she needs to get there. But literally, the yellow brick road was made out of gold, and it's gone now because people dug up all the gold from the yellow brick road. I thought that was really interesting. This Dorothy is a badass nonetheless. Like, she comes into a bar and she's like, give me a drink, and the bartender says, what do you have? And something strong. Are you even old enough to have it? Doesn't matter. It's like, this is a different Dorothy, but I like it. I'm like, okay, this is cool. The flying monkeys are in this, and man, Dorothy literally showcases like flying monkeys. Click, clap, pow. I'm like, she pops one in the head so quickly. It was so funny. But I enjoyed this. I even tweeted Tom Hutchinson. I was like, you got a customer. This was very good. There's even a cool backstory of where the Ruby six shooters come from and things like that. And the whole backstory of the, I guess you could say, the Wicked Witch of the East, because everybody knows she got these from some. They even saying like those guns don't belong to you, and she even says at the end, yeah, I know, but my house dropped on her, and I was like, yeah. So this was good. I very much enjoyed this. And you talk about a book that I fucking loved. If I did picks of the week, this would probably be a strong candidate for it, because it was. This was so good. And I want to thank my friends for helping me so I can keep up with this. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, number 50, 50th issue. I got the Kevin Eastman cover, classic, if you can see that. This was $8. $8. Was this worth the $8? In my opinion, you damn right. This is the conclusion of the Gauntlet story that was going on in this. The Turtles are dealing with Foot. They're dealing with the Shredder's mutants. And they realize that this is a different ball game now. It's a different ball game. It's life or death now. There's no walking away from this. And that's kind of how even Master Splinter even gets them, tells them, like, look, this is different now. The way they're able to defeat Shredder's evil mutants was cool. Man, what they did to Kova, the flying, the mutant bird, what they did to her was just, what Leonardo did to her is just like, damn. And how Raphael and Mikey are able to deal with Bebop and Rocksteady, who are like super strong in this version of them. Like as always, these versions of Bebop and Rocksteady, they are the type that you don't fuck with. Like, just like, these guys are almost on a level, a little bit of Hulk level. Like, that's how powerful these guys are. They can take a beating and get right back up and just smile it off and want more. Meanwhile, Splinter is on the astral plane. He's meditating and through the astral plane, revisiting his life when he was still human, and right up even to the time when him and Orokusaki were kids and being trained by their master and things like that, and just see all the different trials and tribulations they had gone through. By the time, the coolest thing was something happens to Donatello in this. I'm not going to ruin what it is, because as you all know, his mind was in the Metalhead robot, but something happens to him, and he gets upgraded. I'm not going to say what, but it was cool to see. The last fight between Shredder and the Turtles felt like the classic movie, or even just the first comic. That's how it was great. It was just Kevin Eastman just oozing nostalgia from several classic features of the TMNT, the Turtles. And then when Splinter gets involved and fights Shredder, and then that ending. Eastman home grand slam with this issue. But there's not necessarily all good to this issue, especially with the family, the Turtles. Mikey does something in this that really just shocked me. Like, oh, but this was excellent. This was so good, and it was worth the money. It was worth it. It really was. Kevin Eastman, you did a great job. And we're not done. It's still going. It's just this was the 50th issue. This was good. Well, guys, that's it for today. That's it. It's good to be back. And I will be back. But yeah, I bet I fooled you guys. I hope I got some of you guys. I had a lot of fun. I actually rehearsed that just to make sure I got you guys. But if I didn't, that's okay. But if I did, I got you. But this was fun. I promised to pay Gabi back, like I said, and I'm going to pay him back before his Midtown Comic stashes start up again in November. So, unfortunately, guys, you cannot ask for the codes, so don't ask. As of right now, the codes are not going to be given out to anybody but Blue Goblin, in a sense, because I'm paying him back for what he did for me during my 5-month hiatus. But and that's gonna be until November. November's not too far yet. But in the meantime, like I said, once I get it, everything go back to pretty much normal. But I had a lot of fun doing it. This was great. I will see you guys next time. I'll catch you guys down the road. As always, this is Marvin Kid. Welcoming you back with open arms. Right? Yeah, right. Other than that, guys, you take care. I'll see you guys around. Bye.